Hello everybody, in the second part of this tutorial of Web API .NET Core 3.1 and Entity Framework. So as we saw last time in the architecture schema, we need to use um, the unit of work, the managers and the repositories in order to use it in the Web API controllers. So let's begin by defining uh, the IOC container in startups.cs file. So we need to define the dependency injection in this container, and it will be the unit of work, the repositories, and the managers. So at the moment, we have one repository and one manager called user managers and users repository. And we need eventually to inject the database context. So that's why we need to install Entity Framework package in Refresh Token Web API project in order to add the DB context. So we need to make services.add DB context type of refresh token context, and we need to define the option. And to do that, we need to make option dot use SQL server, and we pass the string connection of the database. So that's why we need to install the package, the NuGet package called Entity Framework Core.SQL Server. So we take the last version and accept all license. And it will be, I think, it's okay. So let's add the Microsoft Entity Framework using, and here now we have the method use SQL. And simply we need to call the configuration.getConnection string by name. And we put the refresh token database string. And let's move to the app setting files.json. And inside we need to add connection string parameter with its more elegant refresh token DB, because we are already in the connection string parameter. So let's add this parameter, and now I think we done here. So let's go to the package manager console, and we need to create the database. So last time we prepared the tables or the entities that will be a table in the database, and now we need to run some entity framework commands in order to create the database. So let's run add migration and call first. And now we need to update the database, and we have a problem because I forgot to install 3 package. So the first one will be framework.NET Core tools, entity framework core.tools. We take the last version 3.1.7, and we need to install also entity framework design and entity framework SQL server. Accept all, and that's great. So I think we are done here. So let's rebuild the project. And that's okay. So let's return to the package manager and run update database command. So here Visual Studio will build the application, and the build succeeded. Cool. Here it's done. We have created the database. So let's go to the Server Explorer and connect to the database now. To do this, we need to add a new connection and put the server name, which will be localDB MySQL localDB, and choose your database name. So here, let's take a look. We have two tables: Entity Framework, Migration History, and our table called Users. So now let's move to the controllers folder and add a new empty controller. And let's call Users Controller. And by default, let's add some actions here like get users and add users. So the return type will be iActionResult. So we can put anything we need, a numerable, a list, an object, everything we want, we can put it in the iActionResult, and it will be in a JSON form. Now let's add our constructor user controllers that take one dependency called iUserManager. So the user manager here, we will call only the user manager to make insert, to make get all users, to make delete, update, etc. So it's really to interface with users manager, in which we have already put the business rules. Oh, that's great. So here we can add iActionResult type for add user. So it's take user model, and we call user manager.insert the model, and we return the user ID. So let's specify the HTTP attribute, and here the add user action will be HTTP post action, and we can specify the name of this action. It will be add user. In the same way, we can specify also the get users actions by attribute by HTTP get, and we can put the name of this action as we need. Now let's move to the Postman application. So you can download it from Postman official site web. So here we can put our URL and specify the HTTP request type. In our case, let's make a get, and here we have some problems because we use the HTTPS. So in the local host, the certification, it's a fake certification, so we need to deactivate the SSL from the settings, and now we can see that our request in the debugger of Visual Studio. So we have an empty array of users. So let's try to make some insert of users. So we change the HTTP get to the HTTP post, change the URL to get all users to add users, and now in the body of this request we put the user model JSON. It's as simple as that. So when we make the HTTP request, we can see the conversion between the JSON and the object in C#. So when we make get here, eventually we will have our user in the list. So you can enjoy to add some other users. So that's all for today. Thank you very much, and see you in the next tutorial.